You know Seattle, right? Land of ferry boats, art galleries, fresh markets, craft teas, coffees, and beers, street performers, public art, tech companies, temperate rainforest with beautifully dreary weather and bright orange bicycle ride shares. I happened to enjoy the treasures of this Seattle area the week COVID-19 arrived on the US shores, and the world went to pop. I hesitated to take my journey to Seattle, but there were also reports of the virus closer to home as well, so I took my chances and explored anyway. On one of those perfectly cool, rainy evenings you see in the movies, we explored downtown. I took this picture as we hurried between the drizzle on our way to dinner. I am often drawn to colorful scenes with dynamic lighting, but painting a neon-lit scene sometimes feels like an impossible challenge. But I really wanted to capture my experience of this iconic Seattle landmark and desolate streets that seemed to be holding their breath. I had also taken pictures of the same spot during the day and thought it would be great to fill the whole journal spread with this layout and then use the nighttime photo as color inspiration. I actually enjoy perspective drawing and drafting, so I laid out a horizon line and a few perspective grid lines to find a vanishing point. I had started drawing this layout late one night without any straight edges, so what you see here is correcting some of the more challenging moments. After I started painting, I realized the awning and the building it's attached to there on the right actually goes downhill, so it really does have a different vanishing point than the rest of the drawing. I think it still makes sense as it stands. When I was finally satisfied with my drawing, I inked everything. I used a Micron liner pen for the lighter line weight of things farther away or smaller details, and a Pentel sign brush pen for some of the heavier lines of closer objects or elements I wanted to stand out. You'll see later that one of the other brush pens I used was completely water solvable, so it blended with the watercolor paints. I erased as much of the graphite as possible in preparation for paint. These paints are designed for large-scale backdrop and scenery painting for theater. They're densely pigmented and can be thinned out for watercolor effects and intense color glazes. They also have a strong acrylic latex binder, which allows for the ease of layering effects. I am familiar with these colors and how they work together big scale, so it was fun to play around with them here. As this scene is lit mainly by the large neon sign, I started by laying in a bit of fluorescent red to remind me that this saturated color was my light source, and so would bounce around almost everywhere. In order to wrap my brain around how to paint a neon sign at night, I revisited my study on color theory and how to paint light. Part of what makes a light in a picture glow is contrast. Contrast between light and dark, and contrast between warm and cool. In this case, the warm red glowing areas need to be surrounded in dark, cool colors. Another aspect is color saturation. So here the neon areas are very bright, saturated color, and this contrasts with the dark purpley, blue, black, or gray areas. For the night sky, I used lots of Prussian blue with a bit of raw umber and magenta, which makes a deep midnight blue that leans towards purple. In other areas of dark, like the building in back, it's the same blue-brown combo minus the magenta, so this area leans more to the green. So now we have contrast light to dark, saturated to less saturated, or more gray, and contrast from warm to cool. This blue-brown to make a deep gray shadow is one of my favorite shade-shadow combos. Depending on how you mix them, you get something more umber and warm or navy and cool. You can see this in the building on the right, the building with the arches, is the same combination as the building behind it, but there's much more brown in it because it's closer and warmer and has a little more of the neon light on it. In the comments below, tell me your favorite color combos for shade or shadow colors. Because of the way paints are made, the same colors from one brand to the next may not act the same way with each other. So sometimes you have to play around to get the color you are looking for. I think mixing my own dark colors allows me to shift the value around the painting as needed to help define the depth. These combo darks are complex and fun, and this way of looking at color goes for many colors in the landscape. Very rarely will you use a green or red straight from your palette. They often get mixed with something else or with each other to desaturate them for a more naturalistic color. Remember I said that neon works because of contrast? Here I am adding an almost white center to the neon signs. This is the actual neon tube if you were looking at a real sign. Look how the farmer's market sign starts to glow once I add that center. See the bright edge of the farmer's market sign and the bright edge on the right building? They are almost exactly in the same plane, and so they become important to help establish depth in the painting. Layering light and dark objects help the viewer decide what is close to them and what is far away. This is happening with the inside sections of the market as well. Only this time, it's the dark column and facade shape that is in front, telling us that there is more market going down the hallway away from us. For areas that are brightly lit by specific lights, other than the neon, like under the awning on the right, I used bright saturated colors for the most strongly lit items, and let those same colors become less saturated and cooler rather quickly as they moved away from the light source. Overall, I'm pleased with how this turned out. I like how I was able to layer the colors and create atmosphere. Next time I paint a rainy night scene, I might try to explore the light reflections on the street a bit more. I hope you have enjoyed this painting as much as I have. Please subscribe if you would like to see more paintings like this, or if you're curious about what other adventures might come along. I'm Hannah Joy, and this has been Hannah Joy Paints, and I'll see you next time.